Hi everybody, Valerie McSorley here at Gillette Stadium with another guest on BUZZWORTHY. And our next guest is incredibly buzzworthy. His name is Matt Fisher and he's the president of NexRep. So Matt, thanks for being here today.
You're welcome.
Always lovely to see you. So
Thank
you just did a great presentation over lunch. And
appreciate that.
Yeah, it was great. So tell me a little bit about how the contact center is evolving in your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, from what we're seeing in the marketplace, especially everybody's talking about AI and how it's changing the customer experience and how you service it. And what we're seeing is actually on the human CX side of it, a lot more demand for higher quality agents, being able to deal with the more complex types of situations. And what that creates is a need for a much more experienced agent, and a agent that really has a good understanding of what your brands are.
So more sophisticated level of agent is what I always think that you bring to the table, knowing a little bit about your organization and what you do. And I think you achieve that in some really smart ways. And I think that you overcome a lot of the agent burnout piece, right?
Yep.
So tell me your secrets.
So a lot of it is, and we are doing this, is we get anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 applications per week.
Wow.
We've really created found a great niche to find some of the best talent in the country on our domestic side. And really what that is because we provide them a lot of flexibility in the environment that we're in. And that is becoming much more important, especially for people who are more experienced. Our average experience level for our agents is actually 15 years.
Wow.
And that becomes very critical in how you're doing it. So we take a lot of those applications and we use technology, algorithms to figure out who is the best agent for each, both customer, but also the type of work that they're doing, because we all know a sales agent is very different than a customer service agent. A healthcare agent is going to have different requirements or needs than a retail expert. So we're looking at a lot of different data points, testing them on those data points and finding the best match. Out of that, we typically only have about 5% take rate of how many agents how many applicants ultimately become agents. And so what that leads to is a higher quality agent who can handle that new level of demand as we're going into a new era within CX.
So I have to unpack a little bit about what you just said, because that was a lot. So you have 5,000 applications a week, which I'm struck at. And of that, you're taking about 5%, 250 or so, that your tool screens all of this and then assigns where they would be best suited based on the profile of your clients, right? Am I understanding that? That's proprietary, I'm assuming.
Yes. That is proprietary.
Okay. And is all that done just in a screening tool? Is there any human?
Yeah, so we
okay.
do interviewing as well,
Okay.
but we also use a 39-point assessment process to really fine-tune the model to understand the agents on the overall. So that's one of the key things, and I think in this new environment that we want is really, when you're looking at your workforce, you want to have as high quality people as possible, and that's how we're able to bring that to the table.
And then your model is you work with them to suit their schedules, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little about
that's
5,000 applications. I'm still like, that's...
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It takes a lot of work on our side.
Has that gone up? I mean, a lot of people are unemployed right now. There's a lot of people looking for
I think
work.
it's also the fact that people are looking for more flexible types of work.
Yes.
They're not, and that's a very important component of what they're looking for. So we're tapping into that. The second piece is we actually schedule on 1 hour increments. So we're scheduling our agents to the demand of the customer, because typically, in a typical tabletop staffing model, you have a lot of inefficiencies in that workforce model. And what we're able to do is fine-tune the workforce model. So what you would typically do, let's say with 100 agents, we're able to do with 80. Because we're actually making sure that how we're staffing in these 1 hour increments is to that call demand.
I see. So are you then able to You're able to reduce the number of agents that's really needed, right? Because you're hyper-focused, hyper-targeted. And then are they cross-staffed, or are they only on one project or only on one client?
They're dedicated.
Yeah, so
that's really
subject matter
important
experts.
they become subject matter experts. Things like proficiency to proficiency is a really important thing. Speed to proficiency. So those are all factors that we're taking in and making sure that you have the right person, but then also the most cost-effective way you're doing workforce management in the new era. So it's a solution that works on both sides, both for the customer as well as the agent. Was how we see it.
So in terms of speed to competency, proficiency, training, getting them ready to take calls, all the things that we think about, how quickly can we get them on the phone? What's your training process look like?
So we do certification, but we have really good tools around that.
Okay.
In being able to both allow for them to build the skills that they need to be successful. So that's definitely a key thing. And like I said before, is what I think we're moving into, and we've really seen this coming out of COVID. We've been built this with the ground up, really thinking through how do you get the best talent. That's always been some of the challenges within that world, in our world. And so that's really where we're focusing our energy on starting with that talent. It's sort of, I always talk about, when you're making a plot, you have the clay, and you have to start with good clay and then build it up from there. And that's really important, because I think, as we look at it, as agent experience is really as important as customer experience.
Right.
And they match each other, and that's really important.
They should, because that's also building on the culture of the organization from the inside out, which always is important and always shows. So the question I have is really about the tech. So the next question, in BPO models, right? Sometimes it's uncommon. Well, you usually are using the tools your clients have. But it sounds like you've got a lot of your own tech baked into your solution.
We use the tools that our clients use, so that's really important, because we want to augment what they're doing, really be part of their organization. But the two areas that we have built up our own proprietary technology is within the sourcing side of it for agents, as well as the scheduling side. We integrate with a lot of the scheduling engines, but because those are like really unique situations most call centers don't have, there's just not tools that we can use. But then we do use a lot of tools that our clients have used, being able to integrate, whether that's the CAS system that they're using, the CRM systems, even the quality management systems. So we can, we have our own tools, but also leverage our clients' tools.
So what would you say are your top verticals?
So our primary verticals are typically healthcare, retail, hospitality, utilities, and we also do varying other areas as well. We also have, those are typically our biggest categories.
And what's the appetite around AI solutions, and what are you seeing?
So we're embracing it.
I would imagine you run
in two areas. Is kind of really look at that as like agent enhancement. And kind of those agent assist tools using AI, and then the second is customer-facing tools. What you found is, where we are right now, and it's always evolving, is really being able to take some of those tools to get better insights, for instance, on the QA side, and that's incredibly important, being able to, then also take that information and be able to make sure the agents have their right skills that they have. And so that, it's constantly evolving there. And then, of course, on the front end, which is the customer engagement side, we typically are working, to be able to see where there's opportunities on the AI front. And then the third area is, that is really important, is to understand the organization is changing because of AI. And that's one of the other key things that we're seeing out there is you have to rethink, because AI is training on the data that the agents are learning. So that's what's currently happening.
So are there concerns about AI reducing the agent count and impacting your bottom line?
So no, I mean, we're gonna see it. It's like, it's do you
You're not
want to
afraid? Okay, I love it.
do you want to be Netflix or do you want to be Blockbuster? That's kind of you have to like think through it. And I think at the end of the day, we want to be able to evolve and really be able to make sure that it's kind of, you have to think about it starting with the end customer, who's the client, the client and end customer, and what's the best customer experience ultimately for them. And sometimes it's with tools and sometimes it's humans. I think what we're going to see in the future is the demand on the agent is going to become more critical, and that's because those customer contacts that ultimately are going to be resolved by the agents are going to be more escalated, more emotional, more complex, and so that's the demand for that quality agent. You're also seeing a lot of cases is your metrics are changing. People don't understand that, but like call times for the agents are going to get longer because the easier calls are going to be handled in more of a self-service kind of environment with AI. So that's the other thing that you're always having to evaluate.
Well, AHT is, I think, one of the worst measurements of, it doesn't really tell the story, and it's not really okay. And sometimes, people can self-service so much, regardless of the AI.
Right.
They can do that. So when they actually do have a problem that they want some attention on, they do want to talk to a live agent, because a lot of these tools, and I've seen this, decades now in this space, everyone thinks that the next greatest tool is going to reduce headcount. It's going to take jobs away. We're going to lose all the agents to chat. We're going to lose all the agents to email. We're going to lose so all of these things, and none of them have ever happened. So if anything, it's caused the agents to have to get more sophisticated, to be able to work with multiple tools and pieces of technology at once. It's a very tough, demanding job.
Yeah, and you hear the phrase "human in the loop."
Yes.
Right, and I kind of look at it as the human CX, which is and we've seen this as a lot of customer experiences, and customers are also going to choose, and it's something that we all have to just understand, evaluate, and come up with the right solution for the customer, because at the end of the day, they're just trying to get a problem solved. They're trying to get information, and there's a lot of ways you can get that information to them, and I think that's probably the most critical piece of it. And then build back that customer journey and really understand it, where you insert that human in the loop, if you want to call it that, but when you get that, you have to just make sure that it's the right person, and that's more critical than I've ever seen it before.
The right person with the right answer. And I heard, AI will give you an answer. You don't know if it's right. And I heard you reference Air Canada, which that was a big fiasco. So that caught me because that AI chatbot went a little wild with $140 million worth of free flights or something.
I don't know exactly what it was, but
I think that was the number that I had heard, but it's pretty wild, which they had to honor.
Probably more of a PR issue than anything.
Well, multiple
yes.
departments is going to touch that problem, but I think I want to end on something that you said that really resonated with me. So you said, do you want to be Netflix or do you want to be Blockbuster? And a couple of years ago, both were at the end of the line. So there was Netflix was not doing well at all. Their first model with mailing the DVDs out and returning them, and Netflix was dead. I remember opening up a book, and it's actually a book we were looking at for a keynote, and there was a Netflix reference right in the foreword, and I just opened it up and said, oh God, well this is out of date.
Right.
And it just shows you that companies right now are challenged to really be forward thinking and reinvent themselves and reinvent the next iteration of where they want to be. And the tools are there, technology's there, the right people are there, just like you. So if people want to learn more about you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can reach out to us at NexRep, that's probably the way you can reach out to us. And find me on LinkedIn and other places. So
awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
always
much.
Great to talk to you.
Thank you. Likewise. You're always buzzworthy. So buzz by again sometime.
All right.
Thanks.